The desert was silent. Nothing moved except the dry wind that pushed hot sand across the endless land. The sun was high, burning everything below. Jake Carter walked alone, sweat dripping down his face, his boots heavy from the heat. He had been traveling for hours, searching for nothing, just walking. The war was over, but peace never came to his mind. He was a former soldier with no mission, no family, and no home. The desert gave him space to breathe. As he stepped over a sand dune, something caught his eye metal. It was strange to see anything shiny in the middle of nowhere. Jake moved closer. His boots sank into the soft sand as he reached out and brushed it away. It was a crate, old, rusted, and half buried in the sand. Its surface had strange markings, not like anything made by humans. Symbols glowed faintly on the side, almost like they were alive. Jake frowned. What the hell is this? He looked around. Nothing, just sand and sky. Then it happened. A voice, soft, weak, desperate. Please, open. I'm alive. Jake froze. His heart jumped. The voice had come from the crate. He stared at it, unsure if he was hearing things. Maybe the sun was getting to his head. Maybe he was going crazy, but then the voice came again, clearer this time. Please, I'm trapped. Help me. Jake dropped to his knees and pressed his ear against the crate. A soft thump came from inside. Someone was moving, barely alive. This wasn't normal. No human should be inside something like this. And if it wasn't human, he stood up quickly and looked around again. Still nothing. Who are you? Jake asked the crate. No answer. He reached for the latch. It was stuck. He pulled harder. The metal was hot and rough. After a minute of struggling, it moved. The lock clicked open. He stepped back. The lid rose slightly on its own like something was pushing it from inside. Then two glowing eyes appeared in the dark crack. Jake's hand went straight to his belt, gripping the small laser knife he always kept. But the eyes didn't attack. They blinked slowly, weakly. The crate opened a little more, revealing a small, thin body curled inside. It was female, not human. Her skin was pale blue, her face smooth and shaped differently. Strange marks ran down her arms. She looked young and nearly dead. Please, she whispered, don't leave me here. Jake didn't move. His mind raced. Every rule in his head said don't trust aliens. Not after what they did in the war. He had seen too much, but she wasn't fighting. She wasn't holding a weapon. She was dying. He took a step closer. Who put you in there? He asked. She shook her head slowly. Her lips trembled. I can't remember. They hurt me, left me to die. Jake reached out slowly and helped open the lid fully. The crate hissed with pressure as it unlocked completely. Heat and a strange chemical smell escaped from it. He pulled her out gently. Her body was light like a bird's. She gasped as fresh air touched her face. I need water, she whispered. Jake gave her his canteen. She drank a little and coughed, then looked at him with tired eyes. You're human, she said. Yeah. And you're not, he answered flatly. She smiled weakly. But you helped me? Why? Jake didn't know. He was still asking himself the same thing. Just lucky, I guess, he said. He looked at the crate. Something about it felt wrong. It wasn't just a box, it was a prison. Whoever put her inside it didn't want her to be found. He looked back at her. She was already falling asleep in his arms. Jake sighed. What did I just get myself into? As the sun dipped lower in the sky, he carried her to a nearby rock cave he had used before for shelter. He didn't know what she was or why she was. Buried in a crate in the middle of the desert, but one thing was clear: she wasn't safe. And now, neither was he. From far away, hidden behind another dune, a small drone beeped softly. Its camera zoomed in on Jake and the alien girl. A red light blinked. Target found. Asterisk, the cave was cool, hidden between tall desert rocks. Jake had used it before while traveling. This time, it wasn't just him, he had company. She was lying on a blanket he laid out, her skin glowing faintly. Under the moonlight, her body was weak, her breath slow. But she was alive. Jake sat nearby, staring at her. His gun was close, just in case. He still didn't trust her, not fully. but something inside told him she wasn't a threat. She stirred. Jake leaned forward. You awake? Her eyes opened slowly. They were a strange, color-like silver water, glowing softly. She looked at him for a few seconds before whispering. You didn't leave me. No, Jake replied, still wondering if that was a good idea. She tried to sit up but fell back, too weak. He handed her more water. She sipped it slowly, then said, My name is Sira. Jake raised an eyebrow. Sira? That your real name? It's the only one I remember, Jake nodded. I'm Jake. She smiled a little. Jake? Human name? You're not from around here, Jake said. It wasn't a question. She looked away, ashamed. No, I come from far. A world. You don't know, I was hiding, Jake frowned. Hiding from who? She didn't answer. Her hands trembled as she held the canteen. They tried to break me. They said I was dangerous, that I must disappear, so they locked me in that box. Jake stared at her. Why would someone do that to you? Sira looked into his eyes. Because I hold something inside me. Jake leaned closer. What do you mean? She tapped her chest. It put something in me before I escaped. A small device. It's very old, very powerful. I didn't know at first, but now they want it back. Jake's eyes narrowed. What kind of device? I don't know, she said. But it's not just tech, it's knowledge, ancient, forbiddance. They think I stole it, but I didn't. I was only the carrier. A tool. Jake shook his head slowly. So you're telling me I pulled a target out of a box? Sira nodded. Yes, you're in danger now. He sighed and rubbed his face. Fantastic. Just then the cave grew colder. A soft humming sound came from outside. Jake grabbed his gun. Stay here. He moved toward the cave entrance and peeked out. The night was dark, but the stars were clear. In the distance, on top of a sand dune, something glowed, a floating object, round, silent, watching, a drone. Jake cursed under his breath. He stepped back. We've got company. Sira's eyes widened in fear. They found me. Jake turned to her. Can you walk? She shook her head. Not far, I'm still weak. Jake grabbed his gear. Then we move slow. But we move now. He helped her up. She leaned on him, barely able to stand. Her body felt cold, even in the heat of the desert. Can you fight? He asked. I don't want to, she said, but if I must, I can. They stepped out into the sand. Jake scanned the skies. The drone was gone, but that didn't mean they were safe. He led her through the narrow rocks using the shadows. They walked in silence, moving deeper into the night. After an hour, Sira whispered, Why are you helping me, Jake? You don't know me. Jake stopped. He looked at her for a long time before answering, because I know what it feels like. To be thrown away, to be told you don't matter. Sira blinked. You were like me? Jake nodded slowly. After the war. I came back home, but there was nothing left. People feared me. I had no place, no one. I wandered. I still do. Sira. Look down. I'm sorry. He smiled bitterly. Don't be. This desert, it doesn't ask questions. It just lets you walk. She reached out and touched his arm gently. But now you're not walking alone. He looked at her hand, then up at her face. For a moment, something soft passed between them. Then a loud sound tore through the night. A beam of light shot across the sand behind them. They're here? Sira cried out. Jake grabbed her and ran. The ground shook behind them. A craft flew overhead, scanning the land. Go, go! Jake shouted. They ducked into another rock cave. This one was tighter. Jake pressed her against the wall and covered her with his jacket. The craft passed overhead but didn't stop. Sira was breathing hard. Her eyes were glowing again, but this time with fear and power. Jake looked at her. What else can you do? She hesitated. There's more, but I don't want to hurt anyone. You might have to, he said. Because they're not going to stop. She looked into his eyes. Then I'll fight, but only if you stay with me. Jake nodded. I'm not leaving. The wind howled outside, carrying the sound of distant engines. They were being hunted, and this was just the beginning. Jake didn't sleep that night. He sat with his back against the cave wall, holding his weapon tightly. Sira was resting beside him, breathing softly. The cave was small and dark, but it offered some safety for now. Outside, the desert wind howled. Jake kept one ear open, listening for footsteps, engines. Anything. He couldn't stop thinking about what Sarah had said. Device was inside her, old, powerful, dangerous, and people wanted it back badly. As the sky turned light gray and the first sun rays touched the sand, Sarah opened her eyes. Jake noticed something. Her wounds looked better. Her skin was still pale, but no longer shaking. "You look stronger," he said. "I am," she whispered. "I heal faster in the sunlight." Jake handed her a protein bar from his bag. She looked at it curiously. "You bite it," he said. She took a small bite, then wrinkled her nose. "It tastes like burnt rocks," Jake chuckled. "Welcome to human food." For a few seconds they shared a quiet smile. Then Sarah looked away. "There's something else I didn't tell you." Jake tensed. "Go on." She sat up, pulled her knees to her chest, and spoke softly. "The device they placed in me. It's not just power, it's a map." Jake raised an eyebrow. "A map to what?" Sarah looked at him, her eyes serious. "A weapon, one that can destroy whole planets." Jake stared at her in silence. "You're kidding." "I wish I was," she whispered. "It was hidden a long time ago, before I was even born. Only one copy of the map exists. It's encoded inside me. I didn't ask for it, I was just chosen. By who? I don't know. I was taken when I was a child. I think they saw something in me, a rare ability. Something I didn't understand. They used me." Jake leaned forward. "So the people chasing us, they want the map?" "Yes, if they get it, they will find the weapon. And they will use it." Jake stood up and paced. "And now I'm helping the only person carrying the path to galactic destruction." "Great," Sarah looked up at him. "You can walk away." He stopped and looked at her. "No, I won't." Her voice trembled. "Why?" "Because if I don't help, they'll get to you. And if they get to you, we all lose." She nodded slowly. "Then I'll tell you everything." Jake sat down beside her again. She closed her eyes and placed 2 fingers on her temple. A small glowing thread of light flowed from her skin into the air. Jake stared at it, floating symbols. Lines, shapes he couldn't understand. "This is the code," she said. "The device unlocks when my body reaches full alignment. I'm not there yet, but soon I will be. What happens then? Either I control it, or it controls me." Jake swallowed hard. "That's not comforting." She smiled weakly. "I'm scared too, Jake." A long silence passed, then, boom, the ground shook. Dust fell from the cave ceiling. Jake jumped to his feet, gun raised. "What was that?" he asked. Sarah looked terrified. "They're close. They're using ground pulse bombs?" Another blast followed, closer this time. Jake grabbed his pack. "We can't stay here." Sarah stood, stronger now. "I can walk. Let's go." They slipped out of the cave, keeping low as explosions echoed in the distance. A dark shadow passed over them. A ship, black and sharp like a knife, flew across the sky. "They're scanning the ground," Sarah whispered. "Then we stay in the rocks." Jake said. They moved quickly through narrow paths and steep drops, sand crunching under their boots. Suddenly, Sarah stopped. "What is it?" Jake asked. She pointed to a half-buried stone marker. "I know this place. I've been here before. When I was small." Jake looked confused. "Here, on Earth?" "No," she said. "This desert was once part of my people's world, before it was burned and left behind. We called it Vestara. It means silent bones." Jake stared at the ground. "So Earth was once part of an alien world?" "Yes, long ago, before your kind ever walked it." Jake felt the weight of her words. This wasn't just about saving her. This was about ancient secrets buried in the same sand he used to wander for peace. Suddenly, the sand ahead began to move. A small orb floated up metal with blinking lights. "Drone!" Jake yelled. He fired. The drone exploded in sparks, but not before sending a signal. "They know where we are," Sarah said. Jake looked around. No cover nearby, no caves. Just wide open desert. Then he spotted something, an old, broken metal hatch half buried in the sand. "There." He pointed. They ran. Jake dug fast, pulling open the hatch. A ladder led down into darkness. Sir hesitated. What is this? Don't care, Jake said. It's better than out here. They climbed down just as more drones flew overhead. The hatch closed. Silence returned. In the dark, Jake clicked on a flashlight. The light revealed rusted walls, alien markings, and old machines covered in dust. Sir gasped. This is one of the lost bunkers, she whispered. Jake turned to her. Lost what? Syrah looked around in wonder. Places my people once built to hide from the stars. Jake narrowed his eyes. Then let's find out what they left behind. The air inside the bunker was dry and heavy. Dust floated through the flashlight beam as Jake stepped deeper into the dark hallway. Pipes hung low, some cracked, others hissing faintly. The floor was cold metal under the sand. Syrah followed close behind. Her glowing eyes scanned the walls, reading the faded alien symbols with quiet wonder. This place hasn't been touched in centuries, she whispered. Jake looked over his shoulder. Then let's hope the doors still work. The hallway split into two paths. One led into blackness, the other toward a large door with strange lights faintly blinking red. Jake pointed to it. Looks like power's still running. He walked over and pressed a control panel beside the door. Nothing happened. Syrah stepped forward. Let me try. She placed her hand on the panel. A soft glow passed from her skin into the controls. The door responded. Lights flashed green, and with a loud hiss, it slowly opened. Jake raised his weapon. Stay behind me. Inside was a control room. Dust covered everything. Screens, chairs, broken equipment. In the center was a glowing map made of light, floating above a round console. Symbols moved slowly across it. Syrah gasped. It's a star chart from before the fall. Jake looked at it. Can you read it? She nodded. Some of it. This bunker, it's part of a forgotten defense system. Long ago, my people used bunkers like these to hide from something. Something terrible. Jake turned. What was chasing them? Syrah hesitated. They never said its name. Only that it came from outside the stars. Jake frowned. And now you're being hunted too. Syrah nodded. It's not the same enemy, but the fear is. The hunters want control, and I'm the key. Suddenly, a sound echoed from above. A low, heavy thump, then another. Jake stiffened. Footsteps. Syrah's face went pale. They found us. Jake switched off the light. The control room fell into darkness. Only the soft blue glow of the star chart remained. Get down, he whispered. They crouched behind a control desk. Jake kept his gun ready, eyes on the door, more thumps, closer now. And then silence. Seconds passed. Jake held his breath. Suddenly, the metal above creaked, and then something dropped into the room from a ceiling vent. Not a person? Not fully. The creature that landed moved like liquid shadow, tall, armored, and silent. Its face was covered by a mask with 3 red eyes glowing in the dark. Jake's finger tensed on the trigger. The creature sniffed, the air slowly turning its head. Syrah gripped Jake's arm, whispering, That's not one of mine. That's something else. Jake had seen a lot during the war, but nothing like this. The creature stepped closer, scanning the room with red light beams. Then it spoke, in a voice like metal grinding, Surrender the carrier. No harm will come to the human. Jake stood slowly, pointing his weapon. Not happening. The creature tilted its head. Then harm is chosen? It moved fast. Jake fired. The blast hit, but the creature barely flinched. It rushed forward. Jake dove to the side, rolled, and fired again. Sparks flew as the bullet hit its armor. Syrah stood up. Her eyes flashed white. Stop! She shouted. The creature froze in place like its body was stuck. Syrah raised her hands, palms glowing. Leave or be erased. The creature shivered, then dropped a small sphere onto the floor. Smoke exploded out. Cover your eyes. Jake yelled. Too late. The room filled with white mist. Jake coughed, blindly grabbing Syrah's hand. They ran. Back through the hallway. Alarms now blared across the bunker. More thuds echoed above. More of them were coming. Jake found a maintenance shaft and kicked it open. Down here! They slid inside and dropped into a dark lower level. The tunnel was narrow and tight. Pipes ran along the walls. We won't outrun them for long, Jake said. Sarah touched the side of her head, breathing hard. There may be a way. What way? She stopped at a wall panel, pressed something. The panel slid open, revealing a pod. A round, single-passenger escape unit. This can take us far underground into the ancient tunnels. They won't follow us there. Jake frowned. And what's down there? She looked at him. Truth, maybe help, maybe danger. Another explosion shook the bunker. Jake didn't wait. He opened the pod door. Get in. Sarah stepped inside. Jake followed, squeezing into the tight space. As the hatch sealed, the pod VIBR touched the controls. Hold on. The pod launched downward. Darkness swallowed them. Above, the hunters searched, but the bunker was already empty. The escape pod shot through the earth like a bullet through silence. Darkness pressed against the small windows. Jake could hear nothing but the soft hum of the pod's engine and his own breathing. Sarah sat across from him, calm but her eyes were closed, lips moving quietly. She was praying. Or maybe remembering. Jake didn't ask. He sat with his back pressed against the cold metal wall, heart still racing from the fight in the bunker. He had been trained for war, but nothing he knew made sense anymore. Creatures that didn't bleed, tech older than time. An alien girl carrying a weapon inside her body. Finally, with a jolt, the pod slowed. It came to a stop. A soft hiss followed. As the hatch unlocked, dust poured in. Jake stepped out first, weapon raised. But there was no danger, only silence. Thick and endless. They were in a massive underground cavern. The ceiling stretched high above them, covered in glowing stones that pulsed like stars. Old metal towers, long fallen, leaned against each other. Alien machines dead, broken lined the edges of the stone paths. It's beautiful, Jake said softly. Sarah stepped beside him. This is the forgotten vault. Few of my kind even know it still exists. Jake looked around. Is it safe? For now, she replied. They walked through the silent ruins. Jake noticed carvings on the wall, strange images of stars, ships, and something dark rising through the skies. Sarah stopped in front of a circular altar made of glass and metal. In the center, a glowing symbol hovered above the surface. She placed her hand on it. The room lit up. Screens came to life. Ancient holograms filled the space around them, floating maps, symbols, and shapes that shifted with every second. Jake stepped back, amazed. Sarah pointed to one screen. This is the reason they're chasing me. It showed a dark planet spinning slowly. Around it, giant rings made of machines hovered, each ring glowing red. Jake narrowed his eyes. What is that? A prison, Sarah said. And inside? The weapon. Jake stared at her. You have the map. Why don't you just destroy it? I can't, she whispered. I'm only the lock. The key was lost. Jake sat down on a stone ledge, rubbing his face. You keep saying they want it. Who are they exactly? Sarah took a deep breath. The ones who call themselves the Silence. They don't believe in life. Only control. They erase history, erase people, erase everything that doesn't serve their goal. Jake shook his head. Why not fight them? Why run? Sarah sat beside him. Because no one believes I'm worth saving. Jake looked at her, really looked. Her skin still glowed faintly in the dim light. She looked powerful. And completely alone. You know, Jake said, when I came back from the war, nobody really looked at me either. I didn't have any glowing tech inside me, just scars, broken memories. They said thank you, then forgot me. Sarah looked at him. You were a soldier? Yeah, Earth's last ground war. I lost my unit, my home, my family. I walked the desert to forget, but I never could. Sarah's eyes softened. But you still helped me. Jake gave a dry laugh. Maybe I'm stupid. Or maybe I just got tired of walking alone. She reached out and gently touched his hand. I don't want to run anymore, she said. I want to fight back. Jake squeezed her hand. Then you're not alone. Suddenly a voice echoed through the vault. You are already too late. Jake jumped up, pulling his weapon. The screens around them blinked and shifted. A figure appeared, tall, thin, wrapped in dark armor. Not fully real, a projection. It had no face. Only a cold mask with a single red eye. I am voice of silence. It said, "The girl carries what belongs to us. You, human, are nothing." "Step aside." Jake stepped forward. "Come and take her." The red eye glowed brighter. "You cannot stop what has already begun. She was only meant to lead us to the vault, and now she has—" The screen shattered. The air shook. Sierra gasped. "They're breaking in through the core. They're using a signal to melt the ancient doors." Jake grabbed her hand. "Can you shut it down?" She looked at the console. "Maybe, but I need time." "Then I'll give it to you." Jake ran to the entrance tunnel, planting small explosives from his belt. He checked the detonator. One blast would block the path. Behind him, Sierra worked quickly. Her hands moved over the console like she was playing an ancient piano. Lights flickered. Alarms rang. Jake watched the hallway. Shadows moved, and a whisper, "Human." A hunter stepped out of the dark, taller than before. Upgraded, faster, meaner. Jake didn't wait. He fired. The blast barely slowed the thing down. He backed up. "Sierra!" he yelled. "Now would be good." Sierra slammed her palm on the console. Pulse exploded from the altar, rushing outward like a wave of energy. The hunter stopped. It shook, then cracked, then exploded into dust. Silence returned. Jake turned. "What did you do?" She stood there, eyes glowing, power still flowing. From her fingertips, "I unlocked part of it," she said. "A small part, enough to protect us for now." Jake stared at her. "You're changing." Sierra nodded. "And so is everything around us." The sun was setting when Jake and Sierra surfaced again. They had climbed out of a hidden shaft miles away from the vault. The desert wind was cool now, and the sky above was burning orange. Shadows stretched across the land like long fingers reaching for them. Jake scanned the horizon. "We're far from where we started," Sierra nodded. "But not far enough. They'll come again." He looked at her. She was stronger now. Her steps were steady. Her skin glowed brighter. The strange markings on her arms were pulsing, slowly alive. "You're changing," he said. "I can feel it," she whispered. "The map is waking up. The weapon is calling." Jake frowned. "And what happens when it fully wakes?" Sierra looked down. "I don't know." Jake didn't speak. He reached into his bag and pulled out a small transmitter. "What's that?" Sierra asked. "Something old," Jake said. "Military grade. I've kept it offline for years. But I'm turning it on now." He powered it up. A green light blinked. "What does it do?" "It calls friends," he said. "If any are still alive." They walked until they reached an abandoned human outpost built into a rocky hill. It was falling apart, walls cracked, roof missing, but it was something. Jake led Sarah inside. "We'll stay here tonight." She looked around. "You've been here before?" "Years ago," he said. "During the war. We lost 10 men here." "I was the only one who walked out." Sarah was silent. She walked to a cracked window and looked at the stars rising above the dunes. "They always told us humans were violent," she said, cold, without empathy. Jake gave a bitter laugh. "That's not completely wrong." "But you're not like that," she said. "You helped me, protected me, and now you're risking your life." Jake shrugged. "I stopped caring about dying a long time ago. But I still care about doing the right thing." Sierra turned to him. "Then let me fight with you." Jake raised an eyebrow. "You sure you're ready?" "I'm done running," she said. He nodded. "Then we make our stand here?" They spent the next hour setting traps. Jake used what little tech he had: trip mines, signal jammers, and old charge packs. Sierra added alien energy lines to the walls, her powers linking with the metal. By nightfall, the outpost was armed like a fortress. Jake sat on a broken crate, cleaning his weapon. Sierra sat beside him, holding a glowing orb in her hands. She looked at him. "If I lose control, if the weapon takes me, you must stop me." Jake stared at her. "I'm not going to hurt you." "You might have to," she said. "Promise." "Me?" Jake looked into her silver eyes and slowly nodded. "Only if I have no other choice." Silence fell between them. Then dashed footsteps. Jake stood. Instantly, Sierra's markings began to glow. The sky lit up with streaks of red dot ships. Three of them. They landed nearby, silent and sharp. Cutting the night sky open, from the shadows, tall hunters began walking toward the outpost. Not running. Walking like they weren't afraid. They're too confident. Jake whispered. They believe I'm already theirs, Sierra said. Jake grinned. Let's change their minds. The first mine exploded, then the second. Sparks flew. A hunter flew backward, crashing into a wall. Jake opened fire. Laser blasts flew across the desert. The outpost shook with each impact. Sierra stepped outside. Her body pulsed with light. Her voice echoed unnaturally. You will not take me again, she raised her hand. The sand beneath the hunters turned into fire-blue flames rising in spirals, but the hunters kept coming. One of them reached Jake. It swung a blade. Jake blocked. Barely, he slammed his shoulder into the creature and fired point-blank into its chest. The armor cracked. It fell. More came. Sierra floated slightly above the ground now, her eyes glowing white. Her body was surrounded by waves of energy. Jake called out, Sierra, what's happening? She screamed, It's unlocking. I can feel the weapon waking up. The sky cracked. Above them, a hole opened, a wormhole. Pulsing red, one of the ships began beaming a signal toward Sierra. She screamed in pain. Holding her head, Jake ran to her, shielding her with his body. Fight it. You can beat it. Trying, she cried. A bright light exploded from her chest, blasting the ground around them. The hunters were thrown back like leaves in a storm. Jake was on the ground, stunned. He looked up. Sir stood tall. Her body was no longer shaking. She had taken control of the power inside her. She raised her hand again, and the enemy ship above them exploded into pieces. Silence fell. No more hunters moved. Sierra dropped to her knees. Gasping, Jake ran to her, held her. You did it, he whispered. I stopped them, for now. He helped her sit against the wall. The night was quiet again. Only the stars watched them now. Jake looked at her, bruised and tired. They'll come again. I know, she said softly. But next time, we'll be ready. Morning came slowly. The desert was quiet again. The wind moved through the broken walls of the outpost, brushing past fallen metal and ash. Smoke from the destroyed hunter ship still rose in the distance, a silent reminder of what had happened. Jake sat beside Sierra. She was weak but alive. Her skin no longer glowed, and the strange markings on her arms had faded to faint silver lines. The battle was over, but the war wasn't. Jake looked at the horizon. They'll send more, Sierra nodded weakly. Yes, they won't stop until the weapon is theirs or destroyed. Jake glanced at her. But the weapon is inside you. What happens now? Sierra lowered her head. There is one final step. One last command inside me. A choice I must make. Jake leaned closer. What kind of choice? She looked into his eyes, her voice barely a whisper. To awaken the weapon fully, or erase it forever. Jake was silent. If I awaken it, she continued, I become its keeper, linked to it for life. My body, my mind. They will know. Longer be mine alone. And if you erase it, it disappears forever, she said. No one can use it. Not them. Not me. Jake frowned. That sounds like the better option. Sierra looked away. But if I erase it, the knowledge goes with it. All the hidden truths, all the ancient defenses, lost forever. Jake stood up, pacing slowly. This weapon, it's not just a bomb, is it? She shook her head. No, it's more than destruction. It holds the power to shape life. Or end it. It was made during the first wars of the stars. Before history began. Jake clenched his fists. So what do you want to do? She was quiet for a long moment, then she whispered, I don't know. Part of me wants to run. Another part wants to fight. Jake looked down at her. Then maybe the question isn't what you want to do, but who you want to become. Sierra blinked. I've seen weapons, Jake said. Carried them, fired them. But I've never seen one cry over saving someone else. Her eyes welled up with tears. You're not a machine, Sierra, Jake continued. You're not just a map. You're not what they made you to be. You're something else now. She looked at him, trembling. But I'm scared. So was he said, when I first held a gun. When I first lost my unit, when I came home and found nothing left. Fear doesn't make you weak, it makes you real. He knelt beside her. I'll be here, no matter what you choose. Shira reached for his hand. Then stay with me. I'm not going anywhere. Suddenly, a soft beep echoed through the outpost. Jake turned. The transmitter from earlier was blinking green. He rushed to it and pressed the receiver. A voice crackled through the static. Jake Carter? This is Command Echo. We picked up your signal. Respond. Jake's heart jumped. He answered. This is Carter. I'm alive. I'm not alone. Status? I have a non-hostile alien with me. She's carrying something. Something big. Copy. Extraction ship inbound. 8 to 12 minutes. Hold your location. Jake turned to Shira. Help is coming. Shira didn't smile. Instead, her body began to glow again, just slightly. She stood up slowly, carefully. I feel the choice. It's near. Jake moved to her side. Then make it. Not for them. Not for the silence. Not even for me. Make it for you. She closed her eyes. A soft hum filled the air. Her body lifted. Slightly off the ground. Light circled around her chest. The wind stopped. The world seemed to hold its breath. Then a pulse of light shot outward from her heart. It rushed across the sand, over the hills, up into the sky. The glow spread far soft. And golden dot, and then silence. Shira collapsed. Jake caught her. Her eyes opened slowly. No more glow? No more marks? What did you choose? He whispered. She smiled faintly. I destroyed it. Jake stared at her. You're free? She nodded. I'm me again. He helped her sit down as the sound of engines echoed above. A ship came into view, Earth's military colors hovering above the dunes. A ladder lowered, 2 soldiers dropped down, guns raised, then froze when they saw Shira. Jake raised his hand. She's with me, stand down. The men looked unsure, but obeyed. A third figure stepped out of the ship. A woman in a dark uniform, gray hair, sharp eyes. Jake Carter, she said. We weren't sure you were still alive. Jake nodded. Neither was I, she looked at Shira. Is that the carrier? She was, Jake said. Now she's just Shira, the woman frowned. You know what you've done? That data lost forever. Jake looked her dead in the eye. Good, some things aren't meant to be found. She studied him for a moment, then gave a short nod. Get them aboard. As they rose into the sky, Jake looked out the window at the desert quiet again. Shira leaned against him. What now? Jake smiled. Now we start over. She closed her eyes, safe at last. And the crate that started it all remained half buried, forgotten by time, whispering no more.